Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome in. We are here. We got a lot to talk about again. We've got Travelers Championship starting tomorrow in the PGA streets. Last signature event of the season, which is it's crazy that we're heading into summer and the golf season is kind of in full swing, and then we've got the British Open a month from now. So, yeah, we're gonna talk a little golf. We've got obviously MLB going on, NBA Finals Game 6 tomorrow night as well. The Florida Panthers closed out the Stanley Cup last night. I'm sure we'll talk to Steve about that when he comes on at 11:30. So I'll save the hockey talk for when he comes on. We'll probably take a look at our FSGA teams as well, and we'll see what else he has planned there. It was an okay day for me yesterday betting. Feels like I think of all the stuff I took, I went 2-2. I had Blue Jays money line that won. I had Rangers money line that lost. I had Yankees, Angels over that lost. I had Seager over hits, runs, RBIs that won. So it was like a 2-2 day, and then the home runs. I mean, Will Benson should have hit a home run. I just don't know. He hit a 400-foot ball. It just somehow wasn't a home run, but that's what happens sometimes. So we'll take a look at baseball again, see if there's anything we can find. We'll start with golf though before Steve comes on. So this is the Travelers Championship. Like I said, TPC River Highlands, last signature event of the season. I don't understand the PGA, why they continue to put big signature events immediately after majors. They've done this with Harbor Town and the RBC Heritage being the week after the Masters. And then this is the week after the U.S. Open. It's just like a weird situation, especially the U.S. Open, because a lot of times it's such a grind for these guys. Like anyone that played last week and made the cut, it was such a grind. And then they have to immediately, come back in this stack field and play again. Now, it is a good kind of, I would say, reset for them because this is an easier course. Like this is going to be a birdie fest. So they're not going to have to grind as much as they did last week. But it's just weird that they keep putting these big signature events immediately after, the week after majors. But anyways, really, really good field here. As you can see, Scotty, Rory, Xander, Morikawa, Cantlay, Oberg, Thomas, Hovland, everyone you can think of is playing here with it being that signature event. I will probably once again wuss out and attack this winner without Scotty Scheffler market. And I'm just fine doing that. So I have one pick that I'm just going to take outright. That being, we're going to go right back to the well. You guys know what's coming. We're going right back to Sepp Straka. I will be betting him at 35-1. Much easier course. He's won twice this season. He clearly has struggled in majors, but when it's not a major, he's played great and a very, very good course fit here with his game. So I will be betting Sepp Straka at 35-1. And then I'm probably going to go with this winner without Scotty market for the other guys I'm interested in. This is a sticky course in terms of course history as well. Like you will find, course history does apply here. So I've looked at that a little bit. I like Keegan Bradley, 30-1, winner without Scotty Scheffler. I kind of liked Keegan last week. You guys know I had a top 10 bet on him at the U.S. Open. He struggled a little bit hitting his irons, which when you think of Keegan Bradley, he's a very good iron player. So I was a little bit confused. It was just a bad week for him, I guess, with his irons, but sets up well here. He's played well here. Keegan Bradley, winner without Scotty, I'm interested in. I'm also interested in Jordan Spieth at 40-1 winner without Scotty Scheffler. You guys know a couple years ago, if you were following me, like we were betting Spieth quite a bit. If you've ever bet on Jordan Spieth, you kind of know what to expect. The experience of betting Jordan Spieth is unlike anything you will find. But I like how he sets up here. Honestly, like how he played at Oakmont for the most part. Just didn't put it together on the weekend, obviously. But I mean, there was a period on Saturday. It was like Jordan Spieth. He made like a triple bogey. There was a period on Saturday where he was about to get right back in the mix of this golf tournament, and then did what Jordan Spieth does. But I like him 40-1, and then there's one other. That being another guy that we have bet quite a bit. Actually, there's two more. So what is this? This would be 5. I'm cool with 5 outrights. So one is going to be Harry Hall, winner without Scotty here, 75-1. I'll probably Straka, I'm just betting by himself. Keegan, winner without Scotty. Spieth, winner without Scotty. Harry Hall, I'm going to take winner without Scotty, and then I'll probably take him. I may just bet this and then bet places, like 8 places probably. So I'll probably just do that to protect myself a little bit instead of taking win without Scotty. So let's find him on here. 110-1, and then we'll take the 8 places probably. And then Nick Taylor was the other one at 100-1. So 2 long shots that I'm going to bet places with. And then these other guys here. First round leader. I think any of these long shots would be fine. That being Harry Hall or Nick Taylor. Or I also was slightly interested in. See where he is. He moved down a little bit. I texted my friend a couple days ago, and I was like, maybe we could look at, because Cam Young has played pretty well here in the past. He shot a 59 here. I think that was last year, or the year prior. Can't remember. But he was like 45-1. Now he's down to 35-1. I don't know if I'll take that. I was a little bit more interested. If FanDuel has like a boost or something, or if DraftKings, if you can find a boost and boost him up a little bit, maybe we could look at Cam Young first round leader, or you can look at either of these 2 long shots as well. That's probably how I would go about first round leader in this tournament. If I'm going to bet Harry Hall or Nick Taylor first round leader, I'll probably bet them top 5 as well. So just do half of, if you're going to bet, a quarter unit for the first round leader, just chop that in half and do half of that on first round leader, half on top 5 after round 1. That's probably how I'll play it. So I guess for first round leader, Harry Hall, Nick Taylor, and if I can find a boost, Cam Young, but I liked him a lot better. I saw him at 45-1. I honestly think that was yesterday. My days are getting mixed up, but I think yesterday he was 45-1 when I texted my friend about it, and now he's 35-1. So let me just check. Let me check DraftKings real quick. Maybe I was looking on there. Let's take a look here. No, he's 35-1 there too. Just for reference, so end of round 1 top 5 for Harry Hall is 11-1. Same with Nick Taylor. So if you're gonna bet these first round leaders, like quarter unit, just split it half on first round leader, half on end of round top 5. See if DraftKings has a boost though. Yeah, they do actually. They have like a mystery boost, so you don't know how much you're gonna get. Let me log in. We'll see what I get, and then I'll see what odds that takes it to. I don't think FanDuel is gonna have one. I feel like they've only done that for the bigger tournaments this year. Yeah, I don't see anything right now. Let's see. DraftKings mystery boost 25%. So I think you could get more or less than 25%. I think you can get up to like 50%. So I'll probably put Cam Young with this boost, and that gets me to 43 to 1 basically. Wow, I have a limit of $5 on this boost. That's great. DraftKings is such a scam, I swear. If anyone knows me, you know I've always been a DraftKings defender. The betting stuff, it's just out of control. That's such a scam. All right, to recap, PGA, 5 outrights. A little bit of a bigger, I don't normally take, I normally take like 3 or 4. So 5 outrights. Sepp Straka, 35 to 1. Keegan, winner without Scotty, 30 to 1. Jordan Spieth, winner without Scotty, 40 to 1. And then Harry Hall, 110 to 1 each way. Nick Taylor, 100 to 1 each way. Gonna probably go 8 places on that. And then first round leader, Harry Hall, as well as the top 5 first round. Same with Nick Taylor, and then we're gonna take Cam Young as well. Just trying to look. I want to look if Bet365 has better odds here. I'm probably doing 8 places with these longer shots. Bet365 actually has worse odds on some of these guys. Let me go to the each way. Okay. So each way for Harry Hall's 90 to 1, Nick Taylor, they're both at 90. And then 75 if you go to the 8 places. Yeah, I don't know. I'll once I put everything in, I'll tweet out the golf card later today. All right. Let's switch over to we'll look at baseball quickly here before Steve hops in. Also, I don't remember who, so don't come at me, but someone tweeted, I can't remember who. I think someone tweeted we're like 6. I can't remember the tweet. It was something about how close we are to college football, and I'm just so excited. Do you think OKC path to championship was easier than Boston last year? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, let me just refresh my mind with Boston's. So Boston beat Miami, which was a complete joke. Boston beat the Celtics, Boston beat the Cavs, who were extremely banged up. Donovan Mitchell was on one leg on top of like other guys being hurt. That was a complete joke. And then they swept the Pacers, who were not as good as they were this year. And then they destroyed the Mavericks. No, I don't think it was. I think last year's was easier. The Thunder got taken. Like if we look at last year, Guru, the Celtics won 4-1, 4-1, 4-0, 4-1. They lost 2 games or 3 games the entire playoffs. The Thunder got taken to 7 games by the Nuggets. The Wolves didn't give them much of a problem, but they did get taken to 7 games in there. So I would say last year's was easier, personally. Looking back at that, like I knew like at the time of it going on, like we were like, wow, that's a really easy path for the Celtics. But looking back at it, that is just ridiculous. I mean, that is just so bad. They didn't play anybody good. The Mavericks were okay. All right, for baseball today, quickly, I'm going right back to this and taking the over in this Angels-Yankees game. The Yankees they have to score runs at some point. I don't understand. They're on like a 28 or something, 29 inning streak of not scoring. I don't know what's going on, but they're going to start scoring at some point. So we're going right back to that Angels Yankees over 9.5. Don't care. I'm doubling down on that. Wow, Eric Lauer is back for the Blue Jays. Look at this starting a game here. I guess he's like kind of been. Let's see here. Eric Lauer, if you guys don't know, is from like kind of my area. So that's why I think it's funny when he pitches. He hasn't gone super long, but this says he's going to go 90 pitches. Interesting. Anyways, I'm going right back to the over. Angels, Yankees. That's my favorite play today. I think there's a little bit of value on the Texas Rangers once again here. I know they let us down last night, but I think we can go right back to the well with them as well. The Tigers are minus 310. It's crazy. Anything sticking out for props here? Let's look at release yesterday. You see, yeah, I saw that he didn't get released, Guru. I think it was like a special thing where they let him out to speak at that event or whatever it was. It was like a motivational thing, and they let him out to speak at it. He doesn't get out officially until next year, sometime in 2026. I think after the 2026 NFL season. Do I think he'll play in the NFL again? I don't know. I guess I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest, because he's 26. I think he'll be like 28 when he gets out or something, I saw. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, I guess, if he somehow, I don't know how successful he'll be, like just being off for that amount of time, but will he get like a camp invite or something? Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm kind of interested in some Guardians props tonight. So Justin Verlander has been pretty bad this year. He's just old. 4.33 ERA, 5.07 expected. He's really like leaning on his fastball, and his fastball has just not been good. 3.14 expected batting average allowed with it. If you go back, throughout Justin Verlander's career, his fastball's never been this bad, and it's just because he's just old. I don't know. I mean, that's just a thing. So I would be interested in potentially some Guardians props, whether that be whether that be Jose Ramirez, whether that be, I mean, honestly, Daniel Schneeman's been good. We've talked about him a few times. Let me just we'll pull up the Guardians here while we wait for Steve to hop in. We got a couple more minutes. Let's go Guardians expected stats as a team. Jose Ramirez is the only person with a 350 or above expected WOBA on the team. Everyone else is just pretty terrible. Yeah, I don't know. The team just sucks, unfortunately, their offense. But Jose Ramirez, I'd be interested in. Maybe hits, runs, RBIs. If Kyle Manzardo's in the lineup, I'd be interested in him for a home run. Those are probably the two that stick out the most. Let me see. Manzardo against fastballs. I mean, he has pretty mid numbers. I'm not going to lie. But he has bad numbers against everything. Steven, I was going to say Steven Kwan hits, runs, RBIs, but I think it's Schneemann or Jose if we're going to do something here. But I definitely think you could pick on Verlander a little bit. The problem is I would just bet the Guardians here like first five, but I'm not in love with Logan Allen. But they're plus 116 on the money line. I'll probably bet this, to be honest. I may take Jose in some capacity, but over 9.5 Angels Yankees is my favorite. And then I also like the Rangers as underdogs, and I like Cleveland in this first five as underdogs. Honestly, you could probably just bet Cleveland full game also. Like it's not like their bullpen is that bad. So one of these two, I guess. I thought they were going to struggle against Robbie Ray last night, and they really didn't. So maybe their bats are starting to heat up a little bit. Definitely worth a look, though, I think. It's kind of sad to see like Justin Verlander's numbers be what they are, just because. I mean that's like if you're watching this stream, there's a very good chance like this is someone you grew up, watching. Like I've really never in my life it's almost like the LeBron effect. I've never watched baseball and like Justin Verlander has not been there, which is pretty crazy. Let's take a look here. Framber Valdez has been a little bit suspect as well. His underlying numbers are better than I thought, so I'll probably skip that, I guess. All right, I think Steve is in here, so we'll add him in. And yeah, let's do this. Steve, oh man, how are we doing? Unfortunate that the Oilers they did not force a game 7. They lost, but how are you doing today? And
Good.
thoughts on I guess like the game last night?
Well, first off, condolences to Aiden and his fan base. I was thinking that he would join us this morning, but the wounds might be too fresh, so maybe we'll be able to get him for kind of a sober reflection in a couple of days.
If the Oilers won last night, he'd be on here right now.
He'd be on. He'd be on. Beard, fired up, all the way down to his clavicles. My thoughts are kind of threefold. So the first one, and Aiden and I were talking this morning, I'm not a huge fan in the NHL when they pull the goalie really early. I think just too much can happen. And if they score one more goal, it's 4-0 and you're done. So pulling the goalie at 7 minutes, in my opinion, was a huge mistake. And it's funny because I read a blog post years ago, and it was like the data supports you to pull the goalie earlier to give yourself more of a chance because it's less likely. Patrick Waugh has been doing it for years, a decade. I don't remember it ever working out. Aiden cited a reference for of an instance yesterday, not yesterday, last year, where I think Vancouver came back on Nashville, where they pulled the goalie really early. But I just don't think it happens very often. And then Podkolzin scores that goal. It would have been 3-1. Okay, maybe they don't score that goal if it's 5-0. But I'm just saying, like that to me was a bit of a mistake, an early gamble, when you've got essentially the season on the line. And number two, I thought McDavid and Dry. Okay, I'll stop there. Get your reactions on the early goalie pull.
I think like from an outsider, newer, hockey fan perspective, I can see both sides. I think if you're only down one goal, I would say I would lean your side to where I probably wouldn't pull him early, like 7 minutes or whatever, just because, like you said, there's a lot can happen. If I'm down multiple goals, I don't see a problem with it, just because I've already accepted like the odds. I would need to see like the probability data, but if I'm down, say 2 goals, I'm sure that the probability of me winning is already so low that I would be willing to take the risk. But if it's 1 goal, I would say I probably would stick on your side and I would just take my chances for a little bit longer.
Here's the thing: it's not that you don't pull the goalie; it's just you don't pull it that early.
Right. But I mean, if
You,
I'm down like multiple goals, it's like I would be willing to take the risk. But 1 goal, I completely agree with you. Like I would just stick it out until there's like a minute. I don't know when's normally like the good time to do it. Would you say?
well, so back in the day, it used to be like 90 seconds. A minute and a half, under 2 minutes. They've started getting more aggressive. Over 2 minutes, etc. You have six skaters. You have offensive zone pressure. But the flip side is what they had started doing in the NHL to counter that, like the defensive teams, is they just start shooting for the goal. These guys are so good
Yeah.
that they hit it frequently. And if they miss, like the old adage was don't ice the puck, because if you miss, then you've got an offensive zone face off. These guys are so good at face offs now, it's 50-50. So 50% of the time they win them. And then they get another chance to shoot the puck at the net. So like I'm just like it's not I just don't agree with that at all. I think that if you like what happens if you say you score at the 6 minute mark? Now what do you do? Now it's 3-1. What do you do? Do you keep going? Put the goalie back in? So
Yeah, I would need to see like math on it. I don't know. I don't know like I'm just not familiar with hockey to the extent. Like I know like if we make arguments like this in NFL, it would be kind of like, do you go for it on fourth down here and here and here? And there's so much data that would support your decision one way or the other. Like it's very cut and dry. Like you just do whatever the probability says. I don't know if it's that cut and dry in like hockey. I just don't know.
yeah, and I also think that many of the data that informed that was not at a time where then people just started shooting at the open nets all the time to end the game. Like
Yeah.
the first empty netter was from the red line,
Hmm.
from the sidewall, and he buried it. Like unless you plan on having a player back there playing goalie, I don't know. I agree. You got to have the data. I think the interesting thing is the data inform that strategy, and then it changed the behavior of the
Yeah,
players playing
that's what I'm
defense.
saying. The data could be skewed, like you're saying. But we're in the NFL, it's easier to account for different factors, I guess, when you're analyzing the data, I think.
I also think in the NFL that since teams started going for more on fourth down, that's actually changed the way that they played. It's actually made it a lot harder on fourth down to get 2 or 3 yards, like they used to, because now they expect teams to go for it. They aren't expecting you to come out and punt the ball. Like they're like, okay, they're probably going to go for it.
Yeah.
They're going to do the tush push. They're going to do whatever. Whereas before it was like, okay, if we can get essentially a 3 down stop, they're going to punt it or they're going to kick a field goal. So the data is alive, the data is active,
Hmm.
um, changes strategies all the time. So it's funny because on the data feed side of things, we have a lot of AI modelers and kind of sharps who have been coming to us and saying, "Hey, do you have historical data?" Obviously, we do for any of those fans that are out there, and it is available in SportWise. But we have game by game data, back to 2016. The interesting thing is the data in 2016, 2017, 20 as it ages becomes less relevant in informing the future. Like really, there's a very small window in sports, maybe a couple of years, where the strategies and tactics, the data reflects the strategies and tactics that are current.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, the other thing I'll say about the game, we don't have to talk too much about it since the season's over, but the other thing is I thought McDavid and Draisaitl looked tired.
Yeah, they did definitely. I would agree with that.
I don't know if they're injured. We'll probably find out today, maybe tomorrow. But they looked tired, and maybe that's part of the reason why he pulled the goalie, because he was like, I can just see on the bench that like we're gassed, and we're not going to get a push unless we get some help. I remember the same thing last year in Game 7 when they were trying to score that kind of late goal. McDavid just looked absolutely gassed. And then the last thing I'll mention about the series is that losing Zach Hyman, I think, really hurt them. At the time, I
Yeah.
didn't really think about it. I was like, he's a bit of a gritty grinder who can score. But I think that just changed the dynamic of all their lines. And having to slot Corey Perry in where Zach Hyman was. Um, he just is older and slower, and couldn't forecheck, couldn't hit, couldn't put pressure, couldn't create ice, which made it a lot harder for the rest of the guys on that line. And then it just juggled the whole roster. It's forward unit at least.
Yeah, I think that made a big difference as well. Unfortunate. It's crazy that we like prior to the series, you're like, this is their best chance, and they came closer last year than they did this year.
I know. I was thinking that same thing. Prediction gone wrong. Hey, how many hot takes do you get wrong? But so, moving forward, what do you think of Florida and Edmonton next year?
I mean, I would be down for a trilogy. That would be fun. I just don't know. Like, I don't know. I'd have to see like obviously the team dynamics by the time we get to the playoffs next year. But if they went, has that ever happened? Two teams play 3 times in a row in the Stanley Cup final.
Uh, uh, Maybe Edmonton and the Islanders. Just look that up.
I saw a lot of people like comping the Oilers. They're like, imagine they go to the finals again next year and lose, and then again after that and lose, and then that's when you would feel like the Bills in the '90s because they lost 4
Yeah.
Super Bowls in a row. I don't think I could like. Obviously, I wasn't alive or watching sports at that moment, but I mean, I really couldn't imagine social media today if a team lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. I mean, I really just couldn't. And to be honest with you, I don't think there would be an opportunity with the salary cap and stuff for a team like the Chiefs have gone to a ton. So, but they have the best quarterback. I think it'd be very, very difficult to go to 4 in a row. I don't know if like I feel like with the pressure put on these teams from social media and stuff, like I don't know if they'd run back and have a similar team for 4 years in a row to go to 4 Super
No,
Bowls. You know, I
no,
think they
just
would
the
be done
dynamics.
after like two. Yeah, like there'd be trades and stuff being made after like 2 Super Bowl losses.
Well, even if you look at Florida this year, like they're probably going to get dismantled. Because Bennett's a free agent, Ekblad's a free agent. There'll be some other trade changes. So you lose. I think Marchand's a free agent, so like those three guys were a big part of this year's win. Bennett
Yeah, I
won the
thought it
Conn
was.
Smythe, and Marchand could have won it.
Isn't it like rumored, or did I just like did someone just make this up? But isn't it rumored that Marchand is going to go to like Toronto? Is that a thing? Is that a rumor? I saw this from like multiple people.
Um, Possible. I haven't heard anything one way or the other. Like, I'd be a bit surprised because he grew up in the Maritimes, and the Maritimes generally they cheered for the Canadians. So if he's looking to go to Toronto, he's looking to like make a statement. They don't have money, so they can't pay him. Um, so I think that would be a tough one to figure out. And maybe with Marner leaving, they're thinking they've got more space for him. Yeah,
Let's just
that'd
look.
be an interesting one.
Let's quickly look at the odds for next year. So let's see. So Carolina current favorites for next year: Carolina 7-1, Florida 7-1, Edmonton 7-1, and then you have Dallas, Colorado, all below 10-1. And then you get up to like Vegas and Tampa. Is there any early? Obviously, we don't know like free agency and all that stuff, but is there any just early leans on
Well,
a
there's
team?
definitely some surprises in there, like the Jets. Real haters on the Jets. Like the Jets they won the President's Trophy this year. They made it to the final 8. They're a pretty good hockey club. I wouldn't sleep. That would be a good if you're throwing down a futures bet. In my opinion, that would be a good one. Good value on that one.
Okay. What about
The-
NHL draft? Do you know do you know anything about any of these kids coming in here?
yeah, I know most of them. Well,
This is
so
for the
that's
number 3 pick.
okay. I was gonna say
So yeah,
what? Like I
one
was
and
like, why is
1 and 2 is probably so set that they're just not offering odds on it. If I had to guess,
really? That's
I don't
weird
know.
because
Or
this is an interesting draft.
maybe Ohio is just different. I don't know. They only have 3 and 4 available to bet on.
And maybe it's like so. This is interesting. So they don't have Schaefer on there, so they must be thinking that that's really strange. Like they're just assuming that Schaefer's going to go 1 or 2.
Yeah, if I could see the odds, he'd probably be. Apparently, he would probably be pretty big favorites here.
Well, I'm just surprised. Like it's possible he could drop number 3. Like James Haggins could go number 1.
Right.
Michael Misa could go number 2. Schaefer could go number 3.
Well, James Haggins is the current favorite to go number 5. I see on DraftKings, so they clearly do not think he will
Number
be going number 5.
5.
Yes,
Let me see.
he's plus 175 to go number 5, so he's the favorite to be the 5th overall pick.
I'm pulling this up. Wow, they really think that Matthew Schaefer is such a lock.
Yeah, that's what it appears.
I am a bit surprised by that. Like it's a good pick, but he's a defenseman. And so the problem when you draft a defenseman like that is you can see it with Ekblad, you see it with Hedman, you see it with Rasmus Dahlin. You have to wait around a long time for that guy to be good.
And I
And so
mean, this guy is minus money to go 3rd, so this seems like a foregone conclusion. What I'm seeing, it looks like Michael Misa is the favorite to go number 2.
yeah, which makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
That would make sense. I'm a bit surprised that Hagen's dropped. There is a lean towards US born players right now. So I'm a bit surprised that he's dropping in the favorite. Like I want to check the central scouting.
When is the draft, by the way? Like, when does this occur?
It is. It is.
Oh, June 27th.
I was gonna say it's like in a week.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't waste any time.
No, they got to get it done before free agency. Like it, part of it is that the Stanley Cup playoffs, like they just bleed it into the everything
Yeah.
else because normally there was a lot more time between the two. But you got to get the draft done before
So
free
they do the
agency on
draft
July
before
1st.
free agency. The NFL does the draft after free agency.
Yeah, you got to get it done in hockey before free agency. And to be honest, like I think that the NFL should do that too, in my opinion, because what happens at the draft in hockey is all these teams start trading with each other, and then they fill in with NFL with the free agency side of things. And I don't know if it's because there's less trading, there's less guaranteed spots in NFL, that's less appealing. But I think it would create a lot more drama if you had a forum where these teams could go and trade. Like if there's more trades in the NFL, I think that's one thing it's missing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
We were actually looking at the data the other day because we were fixing some historical data, and we were trying to think of like who's someone who's traded in season that was like a notable player. The list is short, and some of it is realistic because they got to learn a different playbook and whatnot, where it's a little bit easier to kind of jump on a hockey team and everyone's kind of running things the same. But yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Hagen's. If I was looking at it, I'd like they've got North American skaters. They got Hagen's number 3. Um,
But he just played really well at that like junior tournament, right? Is this why like we were thinking he would go higher?
no, he's just had a good season. He's a good hockey player.
Okay.
Like Michael Misa, I think, has kind of outshone him a little bit, just in terms of scoring prowess. But you know, Michael Misa's playing junior hockey. Hagens is playing in the NCAA. NCAA kids are older. Like it's harder to shine.
Right.
Which is why when you look at guys like Mackin Celebrini, like shows you how good he was, and then it translates better into the NHL. So there's all these little things that people look at. Like that's why I look at him like Hagen's like he's playing at Boston College and he's dominating as a 18-year-old.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. I would probably that would be like a nice little flyer for Hagens to go number 3.
Yeah, 9-1. Interesting. Might take a little sprinkle on that. Speaking of that, did you see that kid James Nicholas that play? I think he plays Corn Ferry, but he made the cut at the U.S. Open, and he actually got offered to play hockey at Boston College and declined it and went and played football at Yale, and then just decided to start playing take golf more seriously while I was at Yale, and then he won Ivy League Golfer of the Year, and then he's like 28 now, so this was some time ago, but he's just grinded golf ever since then.
He is. I have not heard of him, but that is like the Bo knows sports, Bo Jackson.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like he has to just be like insanely athletic.
Yeah. Well, I think we've talked about this previously, but there's a few guys who could have picked hockey or football. I don't know if JJ Watt really could have played hockey, but he did play hockey. Blake Wheeler, who played for the Jets, he picked hockey over football, but he would have been a professional football player if he didn't play hockey. And then there was somebody else recently, drawing a blank, but there was somebody else. It's interesting because I don't see the body types as similar between football and hockey. Like most of the hockey players, and maybe they would eat differently and train differently, and therefore their bodies would be different. Most hockey players, they're big, but they're lean. Whereas, I saw Emmett Smith at a golf course in Scottsdale. That guy was a meatball.
All right. I think that was all right. I mean, we'll still talk hockey obviously throughout the summer, but like when the draft comes, like we can definitely dive into that a little bit. If you want to switch, I mean, I don't know if you have anything specifically you want to bring up. Obviously, we can talk a little bit about our league. I've been in 5th place in our FSGA league for like quite some time. I've just been sitting in 5th for almost a month. I can't move up or down, it seems.
Yeah, I keep sinking. It's been a tough year.
Pull up the standings here real quick.
And Andrew Machado is looking really good right now.
Is he making a run up there?
He's not, but I'm getting closer to him.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is getting to a dangerous range. Because he was at like, what was he at for a while there? Like,
I think like 16 points.
yeah, he was below 20 in the point counter. He's up to 26 now. Wow, he must have started setting his team a little bit there. That's crazy. Weird. He's setting his lineup, but he was dodging our live stream. He doesn't want to come on here though.
Yeah. He's got to save some face and then come on.
Yeah, he'll come on when he gets to like 30 points and act like it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, so I was thinking, let's do a bit of a deep dive on my team. Like, where did I go wrong?
I would love to do that.
And we'll get your opinion. I've got my data space set up here as well. A few different players have gone here, but
I'm trying to look. Dude, I'm right in there in the save department now. We've made some progress.
you're catching me.
Yeah. I actually think I'm 2 behind you now.
I picked up Ryan Presley.
Yeah, he could get a save every now and then. That was a good pickup.
I'm on the bench right now, but
my pitching is struggling though. I don't know. I need Michael King needs to come back. But it doesn't sound like he is. The last update for Michael King was on Sunday, and he still can't throw the ball. So I'm like, this guy ain't coming back. I might as well drop him.
Yeah. Well, the good thing in our league is you can have 36 guys on the IL. I know. I tested it with my current team.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you can have a lot of guys in the IL. So the other funny thing about my squad is my pitching was really good at the start of the year, and they've just started getting blown up. Like JP Sears got blown up again.
Oh yeah, he got destroyed last night.
And he's kind of been a bit polar. Has an outing where you're like he kind of renews faith. You're like, oh man, yeah, JP, you still got it. And then he comes out and gets absolutely blasted for 12 the next game again. So that's been a bit tough for me.
That's what happened to dude. Brandon Pfaadt he has 8 wins. And he's just been trashed the last like month. And then I don't think he did very well I think he pitched last night and didn't do very well.
I think he was okay last night.
Let's see here. Yeah. 5 innings, 2 earned, 3 strikeouts. I mean, that's just not going to get it done, though.
No. But he didn't get blown up. I guess maybe that's what I was trying to say. He didn't get blown up.
Where's your team at? I mean, okay, if we're looking at your team, let me look at the standings. Hits. I mean, you're dead last in home runs, and that's going to equate to, low R. So last in home runs, you're second to last in RBIs.
Yeah.
And somehow you're you're kind of like bottom middle of runs, but I mean that's obviously a big factor here. Just the lack of power. We're kind of even in steals. Your average is fine. You have like better average like contact hitters, I guess, than power. Strikeouts, kind of middle. ERA. So you somehow you have the least home runs and second to least RBIs, but then you also have the highest ERA. So I guess like, and I mean JP Sears is probably partly to blame for that, but I guess like it wasn't like there's not one thing that you are really good at, I guess. That's hurting
Oh,
you
you're gonna go
because
the other way.
well, yeah, I
There's
mean
it's not one thing. You're just kind of bad at a bunch of things.
no, I mean like there's not one thing that you can really excel at. So like so for example, even though you're middle in a lot of stats and then bottom of a couple. If you were at the top in even just one, I mean that's a massive difference of your score. Like if there was one thing that you at least had top of the league stats in, that would affect your score greatly, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, and the idea behind using a Z score composite across categories is to pick up multi-cat folks. But the problem is it is in roster and positional selection. So the funny part about it is, look, where are we in terms of home runs here? Can you scroll down a little bit?
I have the most I have the most and you have the least.
I guess it
So
wouldn't have
funny.
even changed it. But I had Willie Adames on the bench last week, and he had 3 home runs last week.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. I actually forgot. But I remember we did our stream last Wednesday, and you're like, "Yeah, I put him on the bench to send a message," and then I just kept getting notifications that he was hitting home runs on like over the weekend, and I was like, "Oh man."
Yeah. So message received. Message received. I believe I have him back in the lineup.
Yeah, and their lineup a little bit better there with picking up Devers too.
Yeah, and so I think that'll actually probably help him a little bit because it'll be harder to pitch around him if he is hot, because he'll have another bat to worry about. But that's one of the downsides. So then the trick is that when you go and you construct your roster, you have to be able to then make sure that you're picking folks that are positionally or categorically kind of stronger in some areas so that you're filling out the cats. You want to pick someone who has a lot of home runs or more home runs, but is also good at a couple of other things, so they're contributing those other categories. And this year, I felt like that didn't happen for me. Like I don't feel like I should be underpowered with Damus, Marcus Simeon, Vlad Guerrero. Who else did Neto hits home runs?
Yeah, Vlad hit a home run last night.
He did, yeah. Who else did I've dropped a bunch of folks. I thought maybe it was Stanton that if he was healthy. Profar, if he didn't get suspended, I would have had a few home runs there. Hasey Kim has been hurt all year. I thought he would have a few home runs.
Oh, Royce
So
Lewis again hurt.
Royce
I mean, this
Lewis,
guy just
yeah,
can't. I don't understand it. It's crazy. How are
yeah,
you a professional athlete at the highest possible level that you can be at? And he's done this his entire career. He plays like 10 games and then he's out for 2 months. It's always like I mean, he's had torn ACLs and stuff, but ever since then it's always like these like soft tissue injuries.
yeah. Yeah, I don't, as a person who doesn't get soft tissue injuries, I don't really know. Like if I've got something sore, I just play through it. But I guess, if you're wired that way and your body is, so tightly wound that maybe it's just unbearable. I don't know. But it seems strange to me too. I know in some cases that they're trying to increase the longevity of these players by making sure that they, don't fall into some sort of repetitive pattern, which then causes wear and tear somewhere else. But like at some point, the guy's got to play. But so, anyways, to defend myself, Adames, Guerrero, Semien, Profar, Neto, Stanton, which I knew he was already hurt when I picked him,
Yeah.
and then Lewis. So if those guys were hitting home runs, okay, yeah, maybe you say Adames.
Harrison Bader got you a home run last night.
Yeah, Bader. So, but I think it would be a lot different if those guys were hitting for power better or weren't injured or didn't take drugs.
Yeah. I mean, Royce Lewis is just. I want to look this up. I need to look at his career games. It's just ridiculous at this point. This guy's 26, and he's played. Where's his games? He's played. Oh my God. He's played 12 games, 58 games, 82 games, and 30 games. 30 being this season. So in his 3 complete years in the MLB, he's played 12, 58, and 82. He's gotten to his most ever. He played half of a season. That is insane.
Well, the crazy part is I can't believe he played 30 games this year.
Yeah, I know. It feels like he's played like 10.
Well, the crazy thing is he's only got 99 at bats this year too.
Yeah.
So he played 30 games, but it's not like they were putting him out every time.
Man, I mean, this guy, Royce Lewis, may go down as one of the bigger what ifs of like the 2020s when it comes to MLB, because I mean, when he plays, he's so good. This year he hasn't been, but every other time that he's been on the field, he's been so good. Obviously, we know what he's done when the Twins have gotten the playoffs. He's been great. It's just, I don't understand this, why he can't stay on the field. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I agree. So if you look at my roster construction, knowing the guys I picked for power, do you think was just unlucky this year? Or do you think I should have had a different philosophy or picked different players or had a different approach?
I wanted to, oh, here we go. I don't think you can see this, but I'm looking at the draft board. Hold on. Trying to see. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously entry luck, but I'm looking at your exact draft right now. So you started with Willie Adames, which we know that just was an unfortunate. It didn't work out like you thought, which is fine. Vlad, same thing, but still, like, you feel fine about picking Vlad. Like, maybe he can heat up over the summer. So, first overall pick, Adames, has not worked out. Marcus Semien was your third pick, has not worked out. And then you went 3 straight pitchers and then Royce Lewis. So 3 of your first 4 batters, it just not worked out. Actually, 4 of your first 5, because your next pick was Profar, and he hasn't even played because he got in trouble. So, yeah, I mean, it just didn't work out like how you thought it was. And sometimes that happens. I mean, Jorge Polanco was my last pick. I'm just seeing this.
I saw that.
Oh, my Lord.
You got auto pick too.
Yeah, I think I had him in my
but look at my Padermo.
Yeah. We should have just drafted those guys.
In reverse.
Yeah, we should have been taking these late rounders. They were better than any of these guys we took at the top.
Well, I like in my other draft, my other competitive league, my first 2 picks, which I had a bunch of like technical issues. First one was Matt Olson, and second one was Brandon Nemo. Not good picks. It's absolutely killed me this year.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if I told you, like, knowing what you know now, if I told you that 4 of your first 5 batters that you picked were Willie Adames, Marcus Semien, Jurickson Profar, and who's the other one? Royce Lewis, right? If I told you that knowing now, you wouldn't think that you would have a chance in a 10-team league, let alone we're in like a 14-team league. Like, it's just not like, you get a couple of those guys that tank you, like it's just so hard to make it up. And for
Yeah,
whatever reason, it just happened that all those guys just didn't work out. So it's just really like it's just tough to
yeah,
overcome that in a league like this.
yeah, and especially when it's not head to head. Like if it's head to head, you can like adjust your roster to
Hmm. Yeah,
start winning some weeks. But if you get behind in this, you can't catch up.
yeah, it's very hard to.
The So what if you were to reverse? Okay, well, what would your say we were building Coach Ben, the AI avatar that people in the future will be able to tap into on SportWise, as embedded in their data spaces as the omnipresent, always available Ben Hostler, the coach. What is your draft strategy for season long roto?
Um, I mean, I definitely it's kind of like how I approach football. Which I think you did this too, honestly. It just didn't work out to your favor. But I don't care about like the draft ranking per se. I don't care where these guys get drafted in a typical draft. It doesn't make any difference to me. I just take who I think like is the best player, and where I would have them ranked. So I will reach on guys. So this was, you know, last year for me, Malik Neighbors, on Yahoo, he's going in the 5th round. I'm taking him in the 3rd round on my Yahoo drafts every single time. I don't care that he goes in the 5th round. So I have him ranked in the 3rd round. So I'm just going to make sure that I get him. And that's kind of the approach that I take in these leagues. Like it's easier to draft, obviously, when you're in a 10-team league. It's easier to win. So in these drafts, especially, I just make sure I get who I want. I feel like I skew more towards younger players typically, and that's what I did in this draft. I mean, I have James Wood is young, Jackson Churio is young, Wyatt Langford is young. Um, Even the pitchers, I guess, to an extent that I took were younger. I guess my philosophy there would be, I mean, you kind of know, we talked about it, like the pitching in particular, these guys get hurt, so I was fine waiting on pitching. But if I'm going to take pitchers, I would prefer to take younger ones just because, um, you know, they have a longer leash, I guess, until their elbow goes, whatever. And I mean, that's going to inevitably
Yeah.
happen, I feel like. But I
Well,
think
it's
I
funny,
skew more
young or
younger.
old.
And, yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to avoid that middle, I guess. Yes, I skew younger, I guess, right now, and at least in these leagues.
Yeah, I agree with that. The funny thing, I look back at my pitching, like Bryce Miller has been a disaster in Seattle.
Yeah, I can't believe how bad he's been.
And just to give you one other viewpoint from me, and again, I don't think it really worked out because Shota has been hurting in Chicago,
Yeah,
and Helsley has not worked out as I thought. The weird thing about Helsley is I didn't think that he would pitch poorly. I thought he would pitch fine. He would
yeah,
just be
they
on a
just
bad
wouldn't.
team.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah,
like the reverse.
yeah. So because I knew he would still get like 60, like 40 or 50 save attempts. Because even bad teams win 60 games. And normally if you're a bad team, you're in closer games.
Yeah,
Uh, but Bryce Miller to be my top pitcher, because my viewpoint is that I agree with you. You don't want to pick a bunch of pitchers early. They're overvalued, they get hurt. You can normally backfill with guys that are kind of rising up, or you can kind of stream. Put someone in a couple good months. You can kind of put that together, but you need some aces.
yeah.
You
No,
need some guys
definitely.
who are going to anchor the rotation.
Another thing, I think I was like ahead on like the A's just going to that new ballpark. I don't think people were accounting for that much in the draft because I got
Yeah,
Jacob Wilson and Soderstrom so late. And I mean, Soderstrom's cooled off, but still, I mean, he has 14 home runs, which is massive. And then
yeah,
Jacob Wilson's hitting 360. Like that just hit him alone carries my batting average like by himself. And I
yeah,
got
yeah,
them like super late. I don't know if people like accounted for the ballpark change, I guess.
yeah. I would agree with that. Well, I also purely just the change in the organization. Like
Yeah.
I heard that they were, I saw pictures on Instagram where they were flying like with regular public civilians to games.
Yeah.
I doubt they're doing that anymore.
Yeah. Right.
They're probably chartering planes. It probably has a whole different feel around the club, knowing that the organization is going to invest in the club, have a new stadium, be able to bring in more revenue. Yeah, it was a bad breakup with Oakland, and there's a lot of history there, and I feel for the folks that live in Oakland. But I suspect that the organization probably feels a lot better now to be out of there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see like once they get into Vegas and stuff, like I want to see like if they start spending money like crazy, just because it's so opposite of what the A's have done my entire life. It'd be pretty funny.
Oh, it'd be like I'm anticipating that they're able to find talent like they always have been because they've been forced to. And there's going to be this period of time where they're going to be able to keep players and spend and attract uh, top free agents.
Yeah.
This could be because the same thing happened in hockey with the Golden Knights.
No, that's a
Golden
good point.
Knights did an absolutely fantastic job of drafting. McPhee did a good job of drafting, and the uh, why am I drawing a blank on the name of the draft? Drafting in the entry draft and then the expansion draft.
Mhm.
They did a great job in both of those, and then they're able to go and say, "Hey, we're in Vegas. Jack Eichel, you should come here. Alex Petrangelo, you should come here."
How do they do attendance wise?
In Sacramento right now, or in
No,
Vegas for
in
hockey?
Vegas for hockey.
Oh, it's sold out every single night. I've
Yeah,
never been to a game there because
yeah.
like my original viewpoint is, oh, you'll be able to go there and get cheap tickets. Not the case. Every single game is sold out. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is because a lot of people use it as an excuse for a vacation.
Yeah, they're like pretty good. They're almost at 18,000 average per game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought it was curious because like I know people do that like the vacation for the NFL specifically because it's one a week. So I didn't know if that would change, to something that's going to have multiple games in a week. Whereas like baseball's going to have games every day when on those homestands. So I'm going to be curious to see how the attendance works for that. It's also going to be outside in hot versus inside. So I'll just be curious.
Yeah. And Vegas is hot. It is hot, but it's not that hot.
Yeah.
It gets cold up there.
I
Like
don't think they'll do bad. I'll just be curious, like, because I know football, like, they do great because it's once a week, and yeah, like you said, people will go,
I
like, do
think
a
they're going to
Vegas trip.
absolutely crush it.
Can
Like
you
the number,
explain to me how is Columbus like fifth in attendance? Like, they're never good. What
well,
the heck is going on here?
well, I don't know, but they might have a bigger stadium. Um,
Yeah,
and so
yeah, 20,500 it holds.
it's got to be one of the biggest. There's
Yeah,
not
there's
many of them that have more than 20,000 anymore because they skew to all the corporate stuff, which eat up so much of the boxes and the like
mhm.
restaurant seating and
Yeah, there's only 4 others that have 20,000: Chicago, Detroit, and Montreal.
yeah. But um, just quickly back to baseball, and I'm sure you've seen this huge baseball fan as well. I spent a lot of time in Toronto. The number of times that people are traveling to Toronto to go for a series. The Red Sox are in town. All of a sudden, you see all these people wearing Red Sox jerseys. So I just think that there's a lot of people that travel for baseball, especially if they're huge fans, because you can go and watch 3 games, 4 games. The
Yeah.
the other thing about it is we worked, not really worked, but there's a company in Calgary called Stellar Algo. They're essentially a company that works with the teams themselves to understand fan engagement. And so what they'll do is, one of the use cases is if you go to a stadium and you're a season ticket holder and you use your credit card to buy your season tickets, and then you use your credit card to go and buy popcorn or buy all your food and beer at the concession stand. they can map those transactions together. So they can essentially overlay the purchasing preferences on an entire stadium and say, hey, the people in 220, big popcorn folks. Let's move a popcorn stand closer to them so they buy more popcorn. Or wait a minute, let's move the popcorn stand further away, make them walk and walk by all these other things. Maybe they'll buy some other stuff as well as popcorn. So they're working with those teams. So one of the interesting things that they told us is in Calgary, for example, all of their marketing is to the local fan base, try to get them to come to games and running offers, etc. Trying to increase fan engagement, fan spending. For Vegas, it's not to the locals. It's to all the people who live in different cities who've been to a game that they're trying to bring back, or who've expressed that they're fans, they figured out they're fans. And so they're sending out marketing to say, Golden Knights, you were here last because you love the New Jersey Devils. Well, here's a flight and a hotel, and you should come visit us in February to watch your Devils play against our Golden Knights. So I think there's just a ton of that going on in Vegas, in combination with the hotels, and they're able to, on a Tuesday night, fill the barn because people there are on vacation. Where in Calgary on a Tuesday night, it's pretty quiet because everyone has to work the next day.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting to just like talk about. Do you think it'll be affected though over the next like say 5 years? Because I feel like the appeal of Vegas has like taken a hit though. Like I don't think like especially with the rise of sports betting everywhere across the country, I don't have to go to Vegas. I don't have to go to wherever to sports bet. I can do it from my phone pretty much wherever I'm at. And I feel like a lot of like older people that would always do Vegas trips are kind of like not as interested as they used to be just because of like the prices of everything. And then someone like I don't know, like maybe the younger people might be, but I don't know. What do you think about that? I feel like it's lost its like appeal a little bit.
Yeah, I think, well, there's a couple things. Like if you look historically, I think like, we obviously go to Vegas all the time. And when I first started going to Vegas, which would have been in my 20s, in the early 2000s, uh, going there and eat, like you could go and get a hotel and you could eat and you could do all this stuff, and it was so cheap. Like you could go to like an unbelievable buffet and it'd be $30 at like a top shelf property. You can't do that anymore. They figured out that in the beginning it was like, we want to attract you with shows and cheap food and cheap accommodation and swimming pools and all this stuff, but really we want you to come and lose your money at the tables, or we want you to come to the sport book and gamble and lose your money. um they realized that they could start to charge people whatever, and they're on vacation, so they will essentially spend blind. So it has not become the like cheap vacation destination. The second thing that's changed is it's significantly denser. So when you were there, it has a very different feel now. It feels like you're in a continuous shopping mall. And if you are at all claustrophobic, it definitely has a different feel compared to the way that it used to, where it'd be like you could walk outside and you could get like a margarita and you could walk and there'd be sun, etc. And then you go to the next place and you go inside. That's all gone now. Like there's none of that. Even on Fremont, it's just like packed in there, where there's a little more space in downtown. So I think that affects things. But at the end of the day, Americans and Canadians love vacation.
Yeah, I'm not saying like people aren't gonna stop going. I'm just like I'm curious to see like how this develops over the next 5 years.
So and I agree with you. The capacity that they've just repeatedly calling me, the capacity is increasing. So I think there's going to be a lot more people traveling there, just sheerly because there's more hotels and there's more demand. They've got more draw now. Like there's more stuff going on when you go there than before,
Yeah.
where it was just a strip.
Well, I think like the hockey team and the baseball team can help the problem that we're talking about. Like maybe Vegas has lost its appeal. Like maybe that's something other people would travel to go there. Like they wouldn't typically, want to go.
100%. And for anyone listening, like I love going to the strip. I love the sport books. Um, uh, why am I drawing a blank? The Circus Sport Book when we were there
I
last
think
time,
Circa is the best sports book of the
it
ones
was
I've been to.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And it's up on Fremont, so it's kind of like in a cool spot. It's not as big. It's got a little bit of space, so you're not feeling like you're like just like housed in a shopping mall. So any of those listeners, definitely a huge shout out to Circa. Best sport book I've been to in Vegas. The other thing is like go off, like go to the Red Rock on the west side, or go to South Point, or go to some of the places like the locals hang out, and just get off the strip. And there's just so much to see in Vegas. Like when we started driving down all the time to go to Arizona and going through Vegas, it changed my whole outlook on the city. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. There's some big card shows in Vegas too, Steve, if we want to link that in
I
there as
know.
well.
I know. Problem is I spend money at those.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the problem. We've got so if you're in the chat, I mean if you're watching Sports Card Live this Saturday night, I will be on. Probably I haven't got the update from him, but I'm assuming I'll be on at my normal time slot, which is around like 11:45 Eastern. So if you guys are, bored Saturday night, throw on Sports Cards Live. I'll be on there breaking down we're going to talk a little college football this week. So going to have a data space presented with some college football information. And I just said, Steve, before that's crazy. I just said, Steve, before you got on, like I saw a tweet and I can't remember who tweeted it, but it was talking about how close we are to college football. And I'm so excited. Like it's really
Yeah.
coming fast.
Yeah, we gotta connect with Eric. We gotta, now that we're getting back closer to the season again.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'll
we're
see him.
6 weeks
I'm
away.
assuming he'll be in Chicago, so I'll probably see
Yeah,
him.
good point actually. Yeah, you should definitely we should spin him up for a guest spot,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
see if we can get on with him. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to um Sports Card Live, because I don't know a lot about college football cards. I don't know a lot about junior hockey cards, but in my mind, it makes a ton of sense to kind of get them. If you, like, my desire whenever I buy a card is essentially for rookie cards. Maybe that's because of the era that I grew up in, where that was the highly valued card. Now they've got all these one of ones and auto patches and all that jazz, which I still like. But rookie cards are like my pursuit. And uh, being able to kind of take some of these college stars before they become superstars in the NFL and get their cards, I think is just an awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to what you're able to uncover with the data. And do you need any more data from me, actually? Do you have everything you
Uh,
need?
yeah, I think I'm good, but I'm gonna mess around with that tonight.
Okay.
I want to have it done earlier so we can like plan more stuff. So I'm
Yeah, okay.
gonna try and finalize that tonight, and we can if I need anything else, I'll let you know.
And then a shout out to any of those collectors at home. We have a kind of a informal partnership with Card Ladder. So go and
Yeah.
check them out. And that's where we get our pricing data from on cards. And some of the data spaces that are in the data is not live. It's not a live integration. But you can go and get data off Card Ladder, create a custom data set, upload it, combine it with performance data, and kind of get a really cool look um, at players versus how they're performing. And as I'm saying, I'm speaking, I'm thinking about someone else. Like, we also need to go back and look at some of the NHL rookie cards, young guns that we were looking at to see if how their prices changed from the last time. Like
Yeah.
Lane Hudson winning Rookie of the Year and winning the Calder Trophy.
We actually should do that. That would be really interesting because that was the
Yeah,
first time I ever went on Sports Cards Live. That's what we talked about.
yeah, it would be really interesting to go back and look at those.
Yeah,
And
that's a good idea.
like I don't have his young gun, but I got from this year. I got Mitchkov.
Nice.
Oh, I nearly spiked it. And then I did get the UD Portraits Lane Hudson, which is not really, but it's in his rookie season. And then I got old Max Celebrini, which I think this is, again, that's going back to college, highly touted college player playing against older players in college. Translates well into the NHL.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that honestly later on today too. I want to see like how the prices have changed on those cards. All right, overall, thank you guys for tuning in today. If you are playing fantasy sports, DFS, betting, anything tonight, good luck. If you joined late, I talked some golf picks at the top of the stream, so you can go back and rewatch that if you're interested. Steve, as always, thank you for joining.
Well,
It's my
one quick
favorite
comment before we leave,
stream of
because
the
we
week.
didn't get to talk about golf while I was on.
Oh,
And
yeah.
one take.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of people talking like, "Oh, I'm so surprised JJ Spawn won. Oh, this came out of nowhere, blah blah." It's hilarious. Oh, he made this huge putt. Obviously he needed two putts, so he would have made it anyways.
Mhm.
But the funny part is, if he didn't hit the flag and hit the rake, it would have been a runaway. He would have run away with it.
Yeah. He also benefited from that rain stoppage, though. I mean, he was 5 over and then got to like completely reset.
I agreed, but he also hit a flag and a rake before that.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes both ways. I just saw, so Keegan Bradley just made a comment and said, I think going to a course like Bethpage Black, that people are really going to be behind a guy like JJ Spawn. So it kind of sounds like he's played himself into some Ryder Cup action there.
Yeah, he's a good ball striker. Very smooth swing. So, anyways,
Yeah,
that was
he
my
does.
quick take.
Yeah.
For all those people who are I guess kind of hating on JJ, I thought it was it was quite the performance.
I
Like
think he's a likable guy. Like I don't think he's not likable.
I can believe it's more it's not hating. It's like, oh, another no name won,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and he kind of maybe didn't get lucky, but he was dominant. He was
Yeah.
dominant.
Yeah. I agree with that. He played a great tournament. I mean, his putting was insane. You can't take anything away from that.
Yeah. All right, that was my hot take. Anyways, thank you. I'll let you close it out.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Steve, thank you for coming on. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Later, everybody.